Good evening, everybody. We made it. My name is Lauren Draves. I served as the account executive for the automotive team here for Practical Advantage this semester. Alongside me, I have Madeline Hernandez, Emily Cordova, and Patrick Webster. So, I kind of want to go ahead and ask you guys a very simple question. Everybody except for Dean, Professor Evanow, and Jeff, where are you? Don't need your answers, I already know. Who here has heard of Ferrari? Raise your hand. I would expect to see all the hands come up. Now, has anyone heard of Ferrari Club of America? To be expected. Throughout this, actually the last 2 months of being able to work with Ferrari Club of America, we actually surveyed any drivers anywhere between the ages of 16 to 60 and asked them the very exact same question. Who has heard of Ferrari? Every single one of them said yes. When I asked, had they heard of Ferrari Club of America? Every single one of them said no. So our goal throughout the last 2 months of working with Ferrari Club of America was to establish what was the internal problem and figure out what was going on internally that no one had known of this club. It serves as an extension of Ferrari. They actually, the club is made up of members who own Ferraris and people who are just fascinated with the company in general. So we were able to sit down with Teresa Gilpatrick, which served as the executive director who's based out of Colorado, to establish what their current social media plan is. We were actually introduced the idea of creating their Instagram page, and then we were going to be implementing and running it from there. What we soon found out, however, is that they actually had no infrastructure built whatsoever. So there was no consistency, no clear communication between any of their social media pages. There was no Instagram account created. There were no domain names. There were no YouTube accounts. There was nothing created. And what we found out was there's actually 14 different chapters, including the national page, and they were all doing something completely different. They had a national Facebook page, and every single chapter was trying to do their own social media, and they didn't even have any consistency throughout any of them. So whether they had their own Facebook page, they were creating their own website, they were creating their own YouTube pages, they were creating their own Instagrams. There's no consistency, so that we weren't able to build any exposure. So we had to take a step back and say to Teresa, you know what, let's start from scratch. Let's come up with a social media plan that's going to work. And throughout the last 2 months, we were able to establish an infrastructure that hopefully is going to be able to be used by Practical Advantage from here moving forward. So that being said, I want to go ahead and pass it over to Maddie, who's going to talk a little bit about the measurements that we were able to produce in the time working with FCA.
Okay, so we were given pretty much free reign of the 3 different platforms of Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Now, of Facebook, we were able to work with 11 out of the 14 chapters and establish an implemented plan with 7 of them. With the Instagram account, we were able to gain 64 followers, which seems like a little amount, but it was in the span of 4 weeks, so we were really proud of that. So with that being said, that breaks down to 16 followers a week, so projected out 800 followers a year, so those are pretty good numbers. And then unfortunately with the Twitter, we did not have enough content, so we would definitely want to build upon that for the years to come.
One of the opportunities that we actually found with FCA is that a lot of people want to be involved with the organization in some way. So 2 of their main big sponsors that they have for one of their upcoming international meets is WeatherTech and Shell. And so one of our goals throughout the end of the semester was being able to promote those sponsors on all their social media sites. So towards the end, after we spoke with each of the 7 chapters that we ended up working with, kind of figuring out where they were in their process, giving recommendations, we took a step back and handled just the national accounts. From there, we were able to really focus on WeatherTech, promoting them as their main national sponsor, as well as Shell, and putting information on their Instagram, on the Twitter, as well as the Facebook pages. So our presentation is a little bit different this evening. Like I said, we actually built a social media plan. We talked about some of the challenges that we overcame, where they currently were in their social media process, how we were able to build their infrastructure, and plans moving forward. The plans moving forward, some of the recommendations that we actually are going to be presenting to Teresa are the following. We are saying that everyone should have just one domain name for the entire Ferrari Club of America. Everyone is off trying to branch and do their own extension. We recommended just actually doing one, and underneath that one domain name, having a drop-down menu or create a map where people can locate each region and chapter and be able to click on it to understand what's going on in specific regions. Off of that, we said that having a Facebook page per chapter is completely acceptable, because that way people can relate to it. They can follow what pages and information and events that are going on in their area. However, we want to erase all of the names that they currently have and have a consistent name across all of the boards that are appropriate to their territory. On top of that, Our recommendation for Instagram and Twitter, since we created both of those accounts, is to keep it only one. Some of the other accounts, some of the other chapters that chose not to work with us throughout this process actually have their own Instagram and Twitters, and our recommendation is to hopefully, to get rid of all of them and be able to have just one established so we can start building a following from there. So we take away that confusion from anybody who's trying to get involved with FCA and find out what's going on. So what we're going to be presenting actually to all the chapters as well as Teresa is this document right here. I also have it in a PDF file that we're going to be distributing to all the chapters. One of the chapters is even in Canada, so it'll be interesting to see how they react to our presentation as well. They were one of the chapters we weren't able to work with. We'll be presenting with the PDF file as well as this YouTube clip that just oversees kind of what we were able to do for the organization, as well as our recommendations and plans moving forward. So I would like to go ahead and present you with our short video. And if anybody wants to take a peek at our presentation, we're hoping that it serves kind of as a guide for anybody who wants to start building infrastructure for and get involved in social media for any organization moving forward.
During the fall 2015 semester, the automotive team and Practical Advantage had the pleasure of working with Ferrari Club of America. Ferrari Club of America is the largest Ferrari club in the world.
Strengths. Ferrari is a historic name that has been building its reputation since it was founded in 1947. Since the reputation has been growing for so many years, it has piqued the interest of various companies and sponsors to get involved in the company and club in any way. Weaknesses. There is no organization behind how the chapter directors run their territories, as well as no clear communication between the directors and the executive director on how each chapter should handle their social media platforms, leading to confusion between the Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter feeds. Opportunities. Since many of the followers that are involved in the club happen to be Ferrari owners, it may be easier for the club to gain any form of sponsorship needed to expand its awareness and budget. Threats. With established marketing plans in place, and although major competitors don't have clubs and reputations like Ferrari, it would be easy for competitors to decide to do something similar for its luxury car owners. By doing so, they would increase the luxury car club existence and make it harder for FCA to get promising sponsors with the right media presence.
The automotive team needed to create FCA's official national Instagram and Twitter account. After doing so, we were instructed to create content related to FCA. This included event reminders, sponsor promotions, and requests for member involvement, such as asking to be tagged in member photos. We were also asked to create and use hashtags that would link the FCA community together and increase visibility on Instagram. The second task presented to the automotive team was to take over existing social media accounts, namely Facebook, and improve upon what was already started. There was also hopes that we could create Facebook pages and hashtags for each individual FCA region and chapter.
We established the first national Twitter and Instagram account that would directly correlate with the content that was being announced through Facebook. We established what needed to be done through the Facebook page and provided them with guidance since everyone seemed to have their own agenda. After determining the differences between the chapters, we chose to focus primarily on executing pertinent information to the national page exclusively.
We created and expanded the Instagram from 0 to 60 followers in a few short weeks. We are projected to have over 800 followers by the end of this year. For Facebook, we created plans for each territory and created some sort of consistency and communication between 7 chapters to the national page.
Plans moving forward. All Facebook pages need to be consistent. Without the consistency, a substantial following will never be built successfully. We also suggested having only one Instagram and one Twitter feed so we don't confuse our audience.
Conclusion. We hope that with our social media initiatives that FCA has now understood their strengths and weaknesses within their market. We hope that our suggestions and newly built social media infrastructure will give them a successful platform and effective social media marketing plan moving forward.
With that being said, we'd like to thank Practical Advantage. I know some of you guys are going to be graduating here at the end of this week, so congratulations to all of you. We would like to thank Professor Evanow and Professor Swanson. We'd also like to thank Dean Case I know he came in earlier this semester to meet with us, and he actually gave us the opportunity to participate in the LA Auto Show. We actually all took off the day, drove up there for press day, and got to see all of the madness up there. And I'm telling you, it was probably one of the coolest events we've all done, and definitely all made us reconsider which industry we're going into for our post-graduation. I'm telling you, we got to go to every single press conference that was there. We saw Mazdas. We saw the new Fiat being launched. We got to see all the new vehicles that are coming up for 2016, so it's really cool. So thank you for that. And with that being said, we'd like to open the room to any questions that you might have regarding Ferrari Club of America and our involvement or our social media plans. Any questions? All right. Thank you so much, guys.